Have you ever wondered what I actually do? Like you sit here and you listen to these podcasts and you think, oh, Jackie, you sound amazing. I love that you teach design and I'm learning so much stuff. But did you know that you can work with me? And I've shared with you my course and I've shared with you some masterclasses. What I've shared less of is a program I have called the Co-Creation Design Club. And it is honestly, if I don't want to toot my own horn too loud, one of the best programs that I've ever created and probably exists in the world in terms of helping business owners with their design. It is kind of like the perfect mix between people who want to DIY their graphics, but also want a designer to help them or to design for them. And it's this perfect middle ground where you and I together will design your brand. You and I together will design your graphics. You and I together will make whatever your business needs ongoing. And so you join for 6 months, you can stay on for longer, you can finish after 6 months, it's totally up to you. And it's this place where I pretty much act like your creative director. I get in there, I know your business. We have a chat at the start, one-on-one, where I get nitty gritty on who your target audience is, what your business goals are, what your dreams are, what you want to represent, and I help you actually design it. We get in there, we do the things, I teach you the exact process. If you need help, we're here at every single step of the way. You can contact my team and me at any time. You can jump on every second week on a call with me in our small group, and we actually design together so regularly. And I'm like, well, I'm on your team. It's got a ton of different inclusions. I won't go into all of them right now, but I want to give you a bit of a behind the scenes kind of open house on what it is actually like inside the club. And so I have jumped on a call with the beautiful Jessica Haynes. Jessica is a website designer. And it's really quite interesting having a designer join your program, because while my course isn't for, and my programs aren't targeted at designers, we do have other designers join because they see the value in design and they need help keeping themselves accountable. And you'll hear that from Jessica today. But I want you to kind of hear her experience, because this isn't me. I haven't paid her anything to be on this podcast. This is her sharing what her experience of the club was, what it was like to rebrand with me and why she needed that support. And I think you'll really resonate. If you are someone who has been putting off doing a rebrand because it just feels like an overwhelming process, it just always becomes the last thing slipping to the end of the pile, you are going to love this episode with Jessica. So without further ado, let's start our chat with Jess. And I'm really excited for you to hear her experience, and I hope that it inspires you for what's possible for your business. And before I do jump in, I want to let you know that the club is actually open right now at the time that you're hearing this podcast. So if you are looking for this support and you're like, you know what, this sounds like would be really helpful, you can actually do it. You can actually join me and we can work together. I don't have to be this random person you just listen to a podcast of or watch on YouTube. I can work with you, and I would love to work with you. So there'll be all the details in the show notes to find out more. But if you go to whitedeer.com.au/club, you can read up all about it, see the current deals that we have, and actually work with me now so you can stop putting off the stuff and get your business thriving even more. And so if you don't know Jessica Haynes is a website designer and SEO coach for women in service-based businesses. She creates websites that capture magic, get you found in searches, and turn your visitors into clients and subscribers. And at the end, I'm going to share with you how you can get your hands on one of her very own website checklists, which is incredible. All right, let's dive in. So, Jessica, I'm very thrilled to have you on the podcast. Thank you for making the time in your busy schedule. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's been chaos around here with my kiddo exploding a whole packet of beads on the floor just before jumping on, but good.
This will be a very real life podcast for those of you watching, so it'll be very fun. So I don't know if you felt clear on what the club was before you joined, but it's not really a concept that people kind of do or see around at the moment. So it's a little bit different. So maybe before we dive into what you've achieved so far, I would love to know, like, if you were to just to describe what on earth the club even is to a random, what would you say that it is, and like what kind of support you get?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it's accountability, because when I don't post graphics, Jackie comes in and gives me that little reminder, hey, you haven't posted in a while. It's coaching, because I have someone there going over designs with me. I know when I design for other people, it is so much easier than my own brand because I'm so much more caught in my head. So having an external opinion and thoughts on it helps me get clarity. I think clarity is a big part of what I get out of the club. And just guidance, just walking through the process step by step. And I know I do this sort of thing with clients with their websites and everything, but I don't know, when you're in your own business, you're too close to things sometimes. And I've felt that way for a while.
Yeah.
I've been trying to rebrand for 3 years now, I think, since before having my toddler. And it just hasn't happened until this year because I didn't have the accountability. It's the thing that kept getting dropped when life happens and clients happen and you get busy. So I think the accountability and support are huge.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's what it is for me.
those are such great points. I want to touch on a few things that you've said. And like when you first messaged me saying, "Oh, I want to join the club," or "I'm thinking about joining the club," I remember being a little bit shocked, like, "But you're already a designer." And you're not the first designer that's worked with me, because
Yeah.
while you're a great website designer, doing stuff for yourself in your own business can be tricky. And sometimes even I wish that I had the club
Yeah.
for myself. And like I kind of do. I've got my team I can use and to lean on. But to have that person you can just ask for a second opinion on. So I guess it's for people who feel like they have no clue about design, but also people that are really like you've got a good eye, but sometimes you still just need a little bit of help, or like this thing isn't quite working and I can't put my finger on it exactly. And I love that you said, yeah, that you've been wanting to rebrand for like over 3 years. And it's just, I know what it's like as a business owner. We just put things last to the list, even though we feel like, oh, I really would like to do that for my business. I can see the value a rebrand's going to have. I feel less aligned with my business right now.
Yeah.
Could you step me through why you did even want to rebrand in the first place?
Yeah. So I started my business when I was on maternity leave with my son. So he's now 8. And after a while, I noticed my messaging had shifted. My services had shifted to lean more into SEO. And I was really trying to establish myself more as a thought leader. And just my brand was something I threw together in a weekend. I did my website, my copy, my branding, everything in a weekend initially. And I never 100% loved it, but it was good enough at the time. And as I've grown and gotten more confident in myself and just shifted things in my business and gotten to know my ideal clients better, it just felt like it was time. Everything felt a little off and not quite where I wanted it to be. And I still got great feedback around it, but it didn't feel like me anymore. So it was just a bit of everything over time. And the little shifts kind of added up into, okay, I feel really out of alignment. And I noticed I don't know if other people have mentioned this, but I stopped putting myself out there as much because everything didn't feel aligned and it didn't feel me anymore. So I've barely been blogging. I've barely been on social media. Social media is my nemesis half the time. And just losing that has lost a bit of momentum. So I figured it's time to rebrand and kind of build that momentum back up.
Yeah. And I think that there's a key there of like that momentum that you lost. It's so tricky to build back up. And then if you're not feeling proud of your brand or aligned to your brand, then it's amazing. Like people are like, oh, it's just design, it's just a pretty graphic, or it's just a rebrand. It's like, as business owners who are so connected to our businesses, it's wild how much it affects us, how we show up when we're not feeling aligned or proud of our brand. So I love that you decided to prioritize that.
I get told that off clients too. Sometimes when I launch their website, they're like, I'm proud to show it off. I'm now sending it to people. I was embarrassed before and I didn't like them going to my website. So it's the same thing. The design makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. You're so right. And so I love that you've finally been like, let's actually prioritize this. Let's start to feel proud of my brand again. Let's start to be able to show up and rebuild that momentum back. And like, to like sneak peek to ahead and after your rebrand, you're still building that momentum back up, would you say?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm about to enter my 7th year of business and I feel like it's slowly starting to come together now. I'm less in my head and putting myself out there a bit more. Again, I'm still not consistent on social media. I will probably never be consistent on social media.
Don't have that attitude.
My Facebook group I show up in, I email regularly.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to start a YouTube channel and everything. So just having more fun with it all again.
Yeah. That's so special to be able to hear that that's actually happening. So let's now dive into that whole process of doing the rebrand, which I know that you was obviously tackling that yourself probably felt wildly overwhelming. And like, as you like, it's kind of like when there's no motivation to actually do something, like it can just continually slip to the bottom of the list. Like I found this recently. I've been wanting to redo my DIY Design My Biz course for literal years. But it wasn't until me and my coach actually made a plan and some accountability that I finally actually did it. So was that kind of the same for you for joining the program?
Yes, I definitely found that. And initially I went to you because I wanted your team to do the rebrand. But then I realized I have my website, I have my branding, I have multiple lead magnets, I have all my email sequences, I have multiple courses, and it was not going to be within the budget even remotely to have everything done and taken care of. So that's when I decided the club would probably be a better fit at this point, just because I have so many moving pieces, and having the support over a longer period would help. But a big part of why it took me so long to get to this point is just how many moving pieces you have once you've been in business for a while.
Yeah.
Can you stop licking me, please? Sorry, mum life. So yeah, that's just a lot of moving pieces. And the process for me, I was intending on rewriting all of my copy first, but I've kind of been doing that on and off in tandem with changing things. So as I update one particular thing, I'm doing the design and the copy at once, because I'm finding that a bit less overwhelming, and I can kind of bring things to a point where I can get them out in the world now. So I still haven't done my website, but I have done both lead magnets. They're almost ready to go, apart from the welcome sequence, which is being finished up. So I'm able to slowly get bits and pieces out now doing it this way. So that's helped.
And so I feel like with rebranding, like the point that you made is so good. I have people come to me and say, oh, can your team do this? And I'm like, yeah, we can. And then especially if they're established business owners, like you've been in business like 8 years, 7 years, then it kind of means that, yeah, you have to, like, your rebrand has to touch everything. And it's not even just your logo, and not even just your social media. It's, yeah, all lead magnets, all your website, all of, like, so many different moving bits and pieces. And to outsource that totally is quite expensive. And also for someone like you, I feel like you would have struggled to let go of control a little bit. That's why a lot of people who work with me is they have this, whether they're designers or not, they have this, because we're a personal brand, there's like a part of yourself that's in the business. And when you don't get to actually have you like do the things yourself, like there's been things that I've recommended for you that you haven't done because you have your own opinions about things which are not wrong. And so you've been able to be like, you know what, Jackie, I'm vetoing that decision. I'm going to do it this way. And that's totally okay. And that's the beauty of being able to co-create with me. So I love that you did that. And so we went through that process together of doing your rebrand. Did you find any parts challenging in that process? Like as you went through, obviously we have working through your target audience, we have working through what you want your business to represent, all the things that people, if you've listened to me for very long, I speak about when you're creating a brand, we're building the strategy behind that, and then we're finding inspiration, then we're actually creating from that. I remember actually, it's just a flashback that popped into my head. On one of our calls, you shared your Pinterest board, and everyone else on the calls were like, "Whoa, that's a wildly cool Pinterest board," because obviously as a designer, you had that in your back pocket already, whereas you normally teach people how to do that quite well. And so, yeah, how did you find that process of actually doing the rebrand?
It was much easier when I had someone there to strategize with, to go over different things. My Pinterest board was very over the top, because I have been pinning stuff for years. I pin stuff for clients. I pin stuff for myself. I've been bookmarking websites for years for what I wanted to do. So I had all the bits there, and it was just bringing it all together into the one spot. So I had all those bits and pieces. Sorry, she's dancing away. I had all these bits and pieces there, and bringing it together, I was able to really start to see what I was drawn to when I realized I was copying and pasting very similar types of fonts and very similar types of images. I'm like, well, I knew I had a style, but seeing it all together was actually really fun to start to bring it together. So
yeah, I think that the Pinterest board exercise where people, they're like, oh yeah, I don't really know what I want. I'm like, just follow the process, pin the pins that I tell you to pin, and you will see a pattern, and it's wild. And yeah, yours definitely had a very strong pattern to it. And I was like, cool, let's use this kind of font and this kind of thing, and then actually put it all together.
Yeah. And there were some things like choosing the fonts. My name starts with J, like yours. And J's, there's so many horrendous J's in different fonts and things.
Yeah.
So sometimes just finding those particular letters for that you use over and over again is hard. That's what and with the J I ended up with, that's not even a font anymore. Your team took that and
made that for you.
Yes, changed it based on what I was thinking and everything, which was awesome. Having that support, I didn't want to figure that out.
Yeah.
I just wanted it handed to me to say, hey, it's done. Because I could have easily figured it out. It would have taken me a couple of hours, and I'm a mum. I work in about 20 hours a week. I have toddlers coming up to me over and over again. So being able to hand off the tedious bits that I didn't want to do was handy, but also things like a slide deck. I had no idea. I had my initial slide decks and I handed that off to your team and they did the initial concept based on some of my initial slides because I kind of reused the same thing over and over. And then I was able to tweak and refine those and make it more me. And sometimes seeing something, there might be a design that still looked nice, but wasn't what I wanted. Just seeing something that I didn't want, it made it so much clearer what I do want. So it's been surprising just how much that helps. I know I've had clients tell me similar before, but until you're going through it, you don't realize.
And there's so many places, I think, in this process of rebranding or making slides or whatever, that you kind of can get stuck. And if you're just doing it by yourself, or you're trying to, you're just kind of like, oh, I can't find the right font. I just give up. I can't do this anymore. Or I can't get my slides to look right. I'm just going to give up. I can't do this anymore. And there's this idea that when you're in a program like this, we can kind of help you get through those things. It's not like, oh, I don't need to feel like this is the roadblock that's then going to set me back another year with this rebrand. And it sounds drastic, but it's really what happens when we're our own bosses. We can put that thing to the side and not touch it for another year and realize I still didn't finish that rebrand, even though I was literally one font away from finishing it and getting that out in the world, but I just didn't get the chance. And I love that you mentioned too the team making the J for you or making some slide decks. For those who don't know, inside the club, you don't just get my support, and like we jump on calls every second week and we design things together, or you might jump in a Slack channel and post like, oh, this is my Pinterest board, can you help me think of some fonts for this? Or we can kind of design together there too. But the bonus part of the club is that you can ask my design studio team for help. And so there's also this done for you aspect where if you don't want to do that thing in Canva, you've got this lead magnet you've been putting off for ages, you just can't be bothered designing it, or you just can't be bothered making those slides, you can just hand that over to the team, use some of your bonus design credits you get as part of the club, and then you can actually just have that. And then all of it comes back to you as an editable format. So you can, as you said, like if we gave you slides that you weren't amazed with, which you did like them, but if we gave you slides that weren't like 100% perfect, you can then go and edit those and just tweak them, and like you've still got that full autonomy. And it's just, I feel like it's such an empowering process to be able to have that help but still have that autonomy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And especially when you are the face of your business, like you may not know exactly how it looks, but you know how you want it to feel and everything. And sometimes it's just something little that's off, and being able to just go and tweak it and everything is handy. But also your tip around saving the files as SVGs so you can change all the colors in Canva and everything. I actually got rid of Adobe probably about 2 or 3 years ago because it's quite expensive, and I've been using Affinity since. But the more I'm learning about Canva from you in the club, and being able to change colors easily with the SVGs and everything, it's becoming my go-to, because I've always designed graphics for clients in there and never liked it until now. Now I'm doing pretty much everything in there.
And it's like, you didn't come into the club not knowing about Canva. Like, you already knew how to use Canva and stuff. And so it's like this, people always say to me, oh, Jackie, can you actually learn anything? Can I learn anything from you? Or is like, I already know how to use Canva. There's not that much left to do. But when you kind of, there is so much stuff we just don't know about things. And so I love that you've been able to get that extra little bit of interest and be able to kind of make that little tweak and learn the extra things about your business and about how to use Canva, so you can even streamline your process even more.
I was using Canva quite regularly for clients, and I've still learnt so many tips around gradients and positioning elements properly. And now I look at even purchased template packs, and most of them have crappy alignment where nothing's actually lined up properly and everything, even from professional designers. And I'm like, it's amazing how much difference it makes being able to properly understand all the ins and outs. And like I said, I was a big user of Canva anyway, even though I didn't like it before. But now I'm actually liking it because it can do so much more than I initially thought.
Yeah.
Not quite as much as Photoshop.
No.
That's still my favorite.
It's definitely so robust. And so I'd love to ask you now, like, now that you've now done the rebrand, so we've made you a brand new logo, brand new icons, brand new elements, brand new kind of style and fonts and everything. How is it feeling now that you're going in and designing graphics? Or like, we've done a ton of like what I call sub brands, where like you've got some different mini programs and stuff that they've all now got their own little logos and things that again, you didn't have to make all of those. Me and the team kind of helped you make a lot of those different sub brands and elements and icons. So I love that you've been able to utilize that support. Yeah, how has it been now that you've got all that kind of thing done?
It's really good. I'm in the position where I still need to go through and actually save the files and properly add it into my brand kit. So it's still a bit of a pain in the butt that I'm going and copying and pasting from old designs. Don't do that. Jackie does teach you how to properly save it all and everything, but I just haven't yet. Again, more things to do than time in the day. But it is so much easier to go in and know that I have logos for all of my courses, that I have all the different elements. That was one thing I found I lacked before. I didn't really have any brand elements to use, and it does make a difference. It makes it more fun to play with your brand when you have little bits and you can add in and just play around with. So it's definitely made a big difference for how much more fun it is to design with it.
Yeah. And when things are fun to design, you actually do the designs. Like if you're feeling like, oh, I've got this really great idea for a lead magnet, but I either don't know how to do it or I don't know how to make it look nice, or it's going to feel like it's going to take me forever because I don't know which fonts I'm meant to use, then you just don't usually do the lead magnet. But when you have all those things sorted, you can actually do it and kind of enjoy the process too, which I find really empowering.
And plus, once you've got a couple of lead magnets or slide decks, or once you've got one of them, you can just duplicate that design and change bits and pieces of it. So it's so much easier once you have the initial bits done.
Yes.
You don't have to start from scratch.
I can tell that you've listened to what I share, because that is something that I'm so passionate about. As business owners, we need to be strategic on how we're using things. We don't need to start a design from scratch if you've already done one symbol before. You just need to get it up and go. So I love that you've said that. So good tip, everyone. If you've already got a lead magnet that you like, or anything that you like, duplicate it and change it for future designs. It's very helpful.
I do that especially with slides. My biggest slide deck, I think, is about 100 slides, and it's the same 10 or 15 or so slides, like repeated in different ways and changed slightly. That's my main slide deck. I'll start with that one and then change all the others, because I've got so many different designs. And if I design something new for a slide, I can always go and add it back into the main template one, and we're good.
All done. So quick. So just so, like, as business owners, we need to be so strategic about how we use our time. And so, I love that you've been doing that. And so, speaking of business, you obviously have your own incredible business. How, if you had to describe what you do in like a sentence, what do you love helping your clients with?
Yeah, so I love getting into the strategy of websites and content creation on your website to help you get found in Google. So for me, it's not just a pretty website, but it needs to be strategic and guide your visitor to take that next step, and also found on Google and search engines, because otherwise your website's going to be crickets and you're still not going to get results. So I really like the strategy behind websites and blogging and SEO. And that's how I help people get them discovered. And
so good. And so if someone would like to have some help with their website, how can we get into your world, or what's some of our first steps we could take?
So I actually have a free website checklist, and I will share the link with Jackie. She'll include it in the show notes. But it basically walks you through some of the biggest mistakes that come up on websites and how to strategically shift them so that you can have more of an impact with your website. So there's 5 key areas, and it goes through a lot of different tips, and it's a checklist. So you just tick off what's good, and then you always know where you're up to with your website. And once you make those updates, you'll start booking more clients and getting found on Google a lot easier, and growing your email list and all sorts of fun stuff. There's momentum building stuff that it's always fun when you see that sales ping or that inquiry coming through.
Yeah, all the stuff a good website should do. It's like the same as what I preach of, you can have a pretty graphic, but if it's not actually strategic, then there's no point you even making it or having it out there. So I love that you share that from a website perspective. So do you specialize in any particular platforms?
I typically use Squarespace because my clients love something easy to use that they can go in and make tweaks for. I'm not a fan of people being held hostage by a designer where if they want to change a price, they have to wait a week and pay a fortune and everything. So I teach my clients in Squarespace and design their websites in Squarespace so they can maintain them. But I also use WordPress as well.
Beautiful. That is so helpful to know. And if someone was thinking about joining the club and they were unsure if it was the right next move for them, like, what have you found the most helpful, or why are you glad that you got to join and work with me on your brand?
I find it so helpful getting out of my head. I have ADHD. I'm a busy mom. I'm juggling a million things. I get so caught up in my head sometimes, and it helps me get out of my head and into action so much more when I am second guessing. Even just watching some of your podcast episodes, like what your Canva is saying. Oh, sorry, the YouTube one, what your Canva is saying to you. I'm like, damn, Jackie, you've caught me out here. And I even went through as I was watching and started organizing some bits in my Canva and everything. So just, it helps me get out of my head and into action again when I am feeling stuck. So I think that's the hugest benefit as someone who does tend to have too many things going on and not enough time or energy to make them happen on my own sometimes. You need that kick in the pants sometimes.
We all do in business. That's why, I never not have a coach in my business. And this program is pretty much having like a design coach in your business. So you can, because so many businesses, we don't just need a logo. We need, as you said, we need all the things. We need social media, lead magnets, presentations, websites, all these things. And that's what the club can kind of help you make sure that you get those designs out there in the world so that you can start showing up and getting that momentum that you felt like you were losing when that rebrand kept on being put on the back burner. So yay for that now being done, and yay for all the next steps coming in the future, and yay for you being in the club. I really love having you in there, and I'm so glad we got to have this conversation today. So thank you for joining us.
That's okay. Thank you for having me, and sorry for the little interruptions.
Such a pleasure to have her joining us as well. And make sure that if you are doing a website at the moment, or you've got a website you're not sure is actually performing well, grab Jessica's checklist. It'll be in the show notes, and check out how beautiful it is too while you're there.
Yes.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks.
So thank you for joining Jessica and I in that podcast. I hope you found it so inspiring, and to kind of just think through, you know what, I can have a really great brand. I can have the accountability to get this stuff out there. I can have someone to actually help me do the designs I don't want to do. I can have someone to help me create a brand that I'm proud of so that I can get that momentum back in my business and I can show up confidently, because business isn't just this once and done design thing. Business isn't just this disconnection we have from ourselves. Most of our viewers are personal brands. We have businesses that we are connected to, and when you don't feel proud of your brand, chances are you aren't showing up as much as you want to or how you want to, and I want to help you to change that. So if you're ready to do a rebrand with me in the Co-Creation Design Club, you don't have to do a rebrand. You can do anything at all you want to work on. But if you are doing a rebrand, it's a great excuse to dive on in. So make sure you head to whitedeer.com.au/club to get all the details and apply now. There are limited places. So if you're thinking of this might be the right step for you, please make sure you jump in. All right, see you next week for another episode. Bye.